Hey everyone, welcome to an impromptu episode from Ampro Engineering. I'm here with my friend Bryant. Bryant is the son of someone incredible, especially in the RC car industry, by the name of Showdog. That was his online username. And I'll just, in terms of privacy, I'll keep it as is. Those of you who knew Showdog knew Showdog. And Bryant, tell me a little bit why this man was a legend.
Well, so it all really starts from an origin story. The very first one actually being a frog. I wouldn't say this one in particular, but a frog nonetheless. Yeah, it all had started from one vehicle and the rest was history, all the way from boats, tanks, planes, to buggies. Immense amount of collection with almost seems a never-ending variety of trucks, buggies, and all the nine.
Yeah, you know, I met him years ago on Tamiya Club, and this is probably going on 15, 16 years ago. I remember we were talking one day, and he's like, you know, where do you live? I'm like, oh, I live in San Jose. And he goes, me too. So I gave him my number, and I came over to his house one night, and he's like, yeah, we just come by, and we were sitting here chatting for a little bit, and he showed me a couple cars in the back room.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, oh, this is a really cool collection. He goes, well, now let's go see the collection. And I'm like, I thought that was it. And then he takes me in here. And I mean, check this, it's not even there. Look here, look, he's got all these boxes beautifully labeled. Look at this, MIP Thorpe. Look at this, I mean, just all these amazing things. And all organized, all beautiful, and look at some of these builds. This has been featured on my channel previously. There's a link coming up right now. This is probably one of my favorite Hornets of all time. I mean, it's fairly stock, but I mean, it was just so beautifully done. And that was kind of the thing with your dad, right? Is he didn't just build a car. It was like...
It was attention to detail.
No, that's exactly what it was. Whereas, oh, this Blackfoot, for example, I was checking out earlier. It's got a full CRP, or I think it's CRC, custom chrome, CCP, custom chrome products. That's who it was. Whole chassis chrome, all mint. And you think that'd be enough, but no, Jim put Thorpe universals on it. Why? And I mean, then look at this. This is an SRB, well, it was an SRB chassis. And we discovered that no, this is the four-wheel drive MIP upgraded chassis for the SRB. But we were messing with it. Check out, if I can get this on camera here, look at how the universals work. It's just a piece of... It's just a piece of acrylic.
Piece of acrylic and 4 screws.
It's insane. And in this little tiny team checkpoint motor right there, it's actually undersized. It's not a normal 540. This is all stuff that Jim was a master at. He knew part numbers. He knew the right people. He knew how to build it, how to actually get everything working. And his stuff wasn't a shelf queen just because it was pretty. It was a shelf queen because it was bloody perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
That was the strive. Was to have something that, you know, you can really appreciate, not only looking at it, but to know that, you know, it has quality parts as well.
Absolutely.
So I think that was kind of the idea of the collection itself. You know, a few runners here and there, but...
Yeah, he definitely played with them. He definitely did. But then at the same time, this is a magazine car. And this is I believe a vintage Mountaineer that he built many, many years ago. And here it is. It's a little dusty right now, but the thing is still absolutely perfection. This Hilux, again, this has been on my channel. It's another magazine car. Jim built perfection when he was out there. I mean, he really built some stunning cars. You got a couple of amazing Wild Willies over there. His, I don't know, boxed collection that I'm sure he would have gotten to every single one of these things. You know, it's just incredible what he used to do with these cars. Now, of all these cars, how big is your collection? Are you this crazy?
Well, yeah. So I'm more of an enthusiast of crawling.
Yep.
So you know, I would say I have four different crawlers of varying brands.
You'll get there.
And as in getting there, you know, there's definitely a few pieces I wanted to keep out of the collection.
I mean, yeah, these are yours now.
Yeah.
And
so I guess I have quite a bit of collection.
You have a serious problem. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
What car here most reminds you of your dad?
Well, for a fact, I would say 100% this guy right here.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So not only seeing it within your channel, but seeing the rough build process. I do remember when the body was being painted. You know, I was a very, very wee one, so It is.
Yeah, that's a good point, because he had told me about sourcing the parts of that thing.
Right.
And it's bad enough now finding parts, but he was doing that kind of pre-eBay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
where do you even begin at that
So
point?
yeah, and you know, much like anybody who's almost, you know, early internet forums is the, you know, the early have it all, you know, people of like interests. You basically put a post out there, hey, I'm looking for these specific components.
Yeah.
And yeah, a bunch of people chime in, but yeah, forums is the has to be probably the one way.
And that's kind of like after I posted about your dad on Tamiya Club, there have been just dozens and dozens of responses that people genuinely crushed because they've known him for 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and it definitely seems that, you know, within my dad's builds, there has been an influence, if you will, almost to strive. Hey, you know, look at Showdog's.
Oh yes.
Hornet. I want to make something similar. Blah blah blah. So a lot of, you know, motivation, if you will. But
yeah, no, that's absolutely right. It's motivation, and that's what it is. You know, everybody kind of feeds off of everybody's enthusiasm, and your dad was dripping with enthusiasm. He loved these cars. And I'd have to say that, you know, of the collection, I'm glad you pointed that one out, and it has nothing to do with the value. I know these are incredibly valuable vehicles now, but like you said, this just wasn't a car. The Hornet he just put together, that was years of dedication.
Yeah. I mean, prior to it sitting in the mini garage, it was actually in the house, and you know, as a child, I would just be staring at the shelves, and yeah, that blue one was always one that kind of just poked my, you know,
I'm glad to hear
stood
it.
out a little bit more, but.
Yeah, he was amazing. And you know, I feel bad for the kind of the people new to the hobby too, because he would always talk to them too and give them pointers. Oh, you should do this, try this. I genuinely, I should be better at it. I simply don't have the time to do that. And he certainly had time for me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we were just kind of close by. I wish I'd hung out with him more. I'm just grateful that we did. Yeah. And you know, I think I mentioned it to you, and I didn't know this, but it says I kept texting him about going to the track, and he never got back to me. And I'm like, I was messaging a friend of mine, Jenny Moe, and it's like, I don't know where Jimmy's. I'm sure he'll get back to me soon. And that's finally when, unfortunately, you messaged me.
When it dawns on you, and you know, I think, you know, it is sad that we've lost such a staple within the hobby, but nonetheless, I think, you know, my personal goal is to keep, you know, some of the cult classics, if you will. And have his name kind of forever live on within, you know, my collection. Yeah. And that way, you know, as my children and maybe their children will look at the cars down the road, you know, to me, I probably won't even be around. Who knows? Maybe, but
hopefully we're around for a while.
But yeah, so I mean, it's definitely a legacy that, you know, I want to hold on to a portion of it, of course. Yeah.
Well, people with this kind of detail attention to detail, and this kind of passion, it does transcend his life. His Instagram had almost no photos of RC cars. It was pictures of the family, pictures of him. Pictures of what he enjoyed. He had a lot of life, that guy. Yeah, I
think you know, this had stemmed as a child, and then of course as you grow older and you know you have adult jobs, then acquire adult money. That allows you, you know, that the possibilities are endless with that. So I mean, that's kind of what he did, and super enthusiastic about RC of all kinds. But
well, when it's time, I'm sure the next generation will also be enthusiastic. Should you go down that path, really, whatever, you know, you do with the rest of your life, I know that the passion that man had will definitely transcend you, whether it's RC cars or baking bread. You know, it's all about just really loving what you do. And I think what we're looking at here is a man who loved what he did.
I would say so.
He was a good guy. I can't thank you enough for letting me come in here. And so thanks again, man. You know, absolutely. I miss that guy.
Yeah, and you know, and I will as well. But no doubt. And thank you for coming out and obviously giving me some insight on, you know, what exactly I'm looking at, as I am young and these cars do predate me, at least a majority of them. So
sadly, none predate me. You know what? You know what? Weirdly, many do.
I would imagine. I'm sure. Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah, there's some in here that do predate. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. So we're gonna end on perhaps one of my favorites over here. We're just gonna end on this. Everyone, thank you all so much for watching. If there's a buddy you haven't talked to or haven't called in a while, why don't you go ahead and do that. We'll talk to you next time.